What's going on, Internet? Brandon here,
With Jimmy.
NerdLocker.com, and today we're talking about Harry Potter. So, Jim, about Harry Potter. The biggest thing with the Dementors is they want to suck your soul out your chest, and it hurts. But you got to be careful not to run into them. The other thing is that they're all wizards. They're not witches or warlocks, and I'm wondering why they've never had...
Hello, nerds of the internet. Welcome to Nerd Alert. I'm James.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite animes, Neon Genesis Evangelion. So, it's this story about robots that aren't actually robots, and these teenagers who are asked to pilot them.
Oh my god. This is what Jim was always talking about. What's going on, guys? Brandon here.
And Jimmy.
From Nerd Alert. Sorry, I had something caught my throat there.
So we did the math for you, and we think
Roughly, we're both much older now.
it's been about since 2014, the last time we...
Since you and I were specifically on camera together. I know we did a few podcasts, things like that, but it has been almost a decade since Jim and I have sat down or stood up or did whatever with microphones on together.
Exactly. And obviously, that was with Nerd Locker. Nerd Locker will always be in our hearts. We still love Nerd Locker. We're just on to the next project, and that's Nerd Alert. So what are we talking about first?
I guess we can start with Ahsoka.
I like this. I like where this is going. First topic, Star Wars.
I mean, right? I'm ready to go with it. I mean, let's just get into it.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking right before we started, and this definitely feels like the next season of Rebels. So if you have not watched Rebels, I would suggest just watching Rebels, because Rebels is outstanding, but this is such a cool continuation of that story. I mean, it starts off with Ahsoka looking for Ezra and Thrawn, which we knew she was looking for in Mando, but now it's like that's the main focus of this story and what we're getting. Rebels had him really painted as more of a villain, and the books kind of give you his other motives for joining the Empire and stuff. So I'm wondering if they're still going to go this like hard villain route, or if we're going to kind of see a different side of him. And the other thing I'm really excited for is this finally feels like they're building to things where Luke and that like timeline of events aren't the only thing happening in this giant universe.
And one of the nice things, Ray Stevenson mentions it, and it's rest in peace. I'm glad we get this last performance.
So do I, but I'm so, like, he's so good already.
I know, he is.
And I'm like, no.
I know.
Like,
and obviously we don't even know what happens to his character, but we're like, but he makes mention, no spoiler here, but he makes mention there's so few Jedi left. And it's like, oh, wow, as far as we knew, there was Luke. And then Ahsoka's not really a Jedi, but okay. And now we're getting this idea there's more.
It's funny you mentioned the Ray Stevenson line where he kind of like, he almost seems like super sympathetic.
Yeah.
It almost like he reveals too much about like maybe his motives.
Yeah.
Like very early on.
Because he talks about why they're in it, and he says power.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say who he's supporting with that power.
Right.
Anyway, there's a lot of Star Wars, guys. If you don't like one thing, fine, skip over it, go to the next. Doesn't matter. You don't need to be negative about it. There's a ton of things for everybody.
Yes. So another thing we wanted to talk about was the official death of the Snyderverse, which was long overdue, with Flash, which is now streaming on Max, which is the way I saw it, because I was like, I don't think this warrants a trip to the movie theater. And guess what? I don't think it did. I'm glad I watched it at home for free.
This was not Flashpoint. And I think that's what we all expected. And they had a great chance to pull the X-Men style, we're going to reset everything and lead into James Gunn's universe.
I almost feel that the ending would have been a little more linear like that if Ezra Miller hadn't run into all of the problems he's run into.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I'm happier that way, because now we can just get rid of all of that. And man, it really sucked, because especially at the beginning of the movie, when they have like the whole Justice League fight kind of thing, there were times that you're like, oh, this is like a little glimpse of what a working DCEU could look like. And then they immediately go back to how stupid it is with the baby shower and the, like, that was That was so dumb. That was so stupid.
Well, and it sucks because the things that I really enjoyed, obviously Michael Keaton, but I really enjoyed Supergirl. I thought her character, and it's in Flashpoint, it's Superman, the comic book and the animation. But in this, they bring in Supergirl.
Yeah.
I really liked her character. I liked the
Awesome.
actress. I liked how they brought back Zod. I enjoyed these elements. I'm not sure they actually pulled it off well, but I liked the concept of what they were trying.
Yeah.
I love that Michael Shannon came back. I'm like,
I mean, he's outstanding. He
dude,
can
that's
read a
phenomenal.
phone book and I'd watch that.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I just, even with Keaton coming back, cool, but like the whole like rundown homeless man living in his giant mansion who like the world has forgotten about, but Barry Allen very much is like, Bruce Wayne is Batman. So it's like, he's still like, no one's checking on this guy. Like,
but I
people
love
checked
how
on Britney for years. You know what I mean? Like nobody's making sure like,
he was successful. That's why he retired. And like, then why does his
mansion look like crap? And he just has like, when you find him, he's got the long hair and the beard and everything, and he's just like making red sauce pasta. Like
Scarecrow, Joker, Riddler, all these guys were the whole reason this mansion was kept up well and looked good.
And then he's like, I'm done, guys. I'm not doing this anymore. It's like,
that is something I wanted to say that I did very much enjoy with Flash. And it is because I'm an old man, and when Christopher Reeve came on screen,
that was,
and
okay, I will
like,
tell you that for as rough as the CGI was, a lot of that stuff was pretty cool.
And when Helen Slater as Supergirl right next to him is like, I grew up on these movies. I know nobody else in this theater gives a crap, but these are things I grew up with. It was like, oh,
I'll be honest with you, even the Nicolas Cage little cameo, how they referenced the giant spot, like that was a cool little nod. But it wasn't enough to make that movie worth a shit. It just wasn't. Like,
I wonder if your boy Kevin Smith is watching. Like, I wrote that. Hey, come on!
I bet he has to have some sort of, hey, we're doing this or whatever. Because I think they had to like ask Nick Cage to use his likeness
for sure.
But like also cool with the quick little Adam West nod as well. I think the main thing too is like you gave him this job at DC, and then immediately he was like, I have a plan to end it in 4 movies, and they were like, what?
Tentpole franchise.
Are you looking at what Disney's doing with Marvel? They're like going on their like 20th film, and he's like, right, but I have a story I want to tell. And they're like, dude, this is not what we signed up for. We were hoping to do what they're doing. And he's like, that's stupid. I'm gonna have Bruce be the father to Clark's kid, or it's dumb as shit. It's so stupid.
And again, not knocking Zack Snyder, but it's almost like he didn't read the comics, whereas
No,
James Gunn is very fluent in the comics. It's like, bro, you took characters and you did what you want with them versus there's a history here. At DC, there's like 80 years of history.
You have more. You have slightly more. And
we're coming up on 100 years.
Yeah, we are. So, as things go on, certain things are fun to rewatch, other things are not fun to rewatch. And I think we each have a movie in mind that holds up and does not hold up. So let's start positively.
I will die on the hill, no matter how stupid other people think, that the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve is one of, if not the best comic book adaptations of all time.
Really?
Yes, I stand on that hill because every time I watch it, the score is perfect. Christopher Reeves is perfect. The plot line with Luthor is genius because it's not Luthor is already this massive billionaire who's trying to destroy the planet. He's just starting out. In my opinion, it addresses the origin of Superman. It addresses the character of Superman. It addresses Lois in Superman. It addresses Luthor. It hits every hallmark of Superman while addressing how goofy it is, but in like a wink and nod kind of way.
Now, here's the thing with that movie specifically coming out when it came out, which was
78? Oh.
Like, comics were not at all a serious thing at this point, and like especially if you look at the 70s as far as like some of the stories they were telling and stuff, it was more fun, and it definitely was for kids. So that movie has this special place of like comics weren't this gigantic crazy thing that it has become. And I mean, really, where that came back was the 90s. The Marvel and the trading cards and you look at the average number of comics printed before that boom happened, it was so abysmal to where like as some people we know with copies of Spawn #1 thinking it's going to be worth something. But that movie came out at a time where you could kind of be a little goofier, and it may not hold up as far as like the seriousness of the comic book movies now and stuff. But it's funny too, because you can also get too serious like Man of Steel and have it not be good. So it's like it sits in this nice little cozy protected time where it was okay to do this because it technically was an accurate representation. On the reverse side of movies that do not hold up very well, and I'm not trying to bag on this, I'm not trying to say anything negatively, because Batman has always been my guy. He's always been my favorite comic book character. That being said, a few weeks ago, myself and a friend got to go see the Batman '89 in theaters. And I've watched that movie so many times over the years, but I guess putting it on at home casually when you got other stuff going on and someone texts you or rings the doorbell or whatever, like, man, sitting in a theater with just nothing but that movie is a weird ride in 2023, man. Like, that is, there's a lot of just goofiness, and that was when they were trying to make it more serious, but like they can't find that line. And there's a scene where he's in bed with Kim Basinger. Yeah. I just like saying her last name. That's a Family Guy reference. And she wakes up and he's hanging upside down on like a chiropractic thing. And he's just like in his own little world on the other side of his master bedroom, hanging upside down. And it's like, someone was like, well, he's Batman. He has to do bat stuff. And I was like, who the hell are you talking about? For the longest time, like, Joker never had an origin. And watching this movie, you're like, wow, they fully flesh out an entire Joker backstory, which was never done before or really since that movie came out. You had The Killing Joke, which kind of delved into it. But I mean, he even said in that to like keep that continuity up, like, I don't even know what's real anymore. I could be making it all up or whatever. So it is weird to see him as that. And his whole motive for like attacking Gotham is he like causes a scene in Gotham, and then he gets the paper the next day and it's like Batman stopped a crime somewhere, and he's like, this asshole. And it's like he doesn't like he literally from that point on is like obsessed with messing with Batman because Batman took away like spotlight from him.
It addresses the personal vendetta those two have against each other, where the Joker literally only does what he does because the Batman stops him.
I will say though, there are weird setups in that movie that I never noticed before that have become like a blueprint for Batman movies going forward. Specifically The Dark Knight, which will always be my favorite Batman movie. But like there is a scene where Joker goes on television and tells all of Gotham he has a surprise for them, which is what Heath Ledger's Joker does in the Batman. There's a lot of similarities and stuff that, like, for as silly as the movie seems now, did a lot for future storytelling. So it's like in that aspect, that still holds up. But man, let me tell you, there are some spots in this that are like rough to watch. All right. Well, thank you for sitting down, watching a little bit of Nerd Alert with us. Make sure to check us out on all the socials as well as NerdAlert.World. And until next time, have it. Sorry, old habits. I'm Brandon.
I'm James, and Nerd out.